Hello, OWASP AppSec Global visitor slash channel viewer. I'm Timur. Uh, this is my 3 minutes or so prelude uh, to our joint talk with Peter, who is the major speaker here and major mind behind the program we suggest. The topic of our discussion is the many times missing organizational, let's say, glue needed to make the elements of application security more solid set up together. The glue, which is also required to reproduce and evolve application security in that better form that we suggest. In the common terms, we tackle the topic of maturity, quality assurance, and also champions. When I'm recording this, we are already done with our discussions with Peter. Let me prelude it with main points. The slides are difficult. I expect you to return to these slides later, or contact us via the feedback form, which is linked as a QR code on the last slide. So we approach software production teams and departments as an organism. We assume that organizational structures and routines surrounding application security are weak. Of course, there are exceptions and best practices, so don't get offended. The question opening this approach is, why should security skills, routines, and quality assurance be treated on the organizational level differently, not like we otherwise do in software production? There is a new OWASP thingy called integration standard. That's an OWASP project, check it out. It intermingles the arsenal of application security into one structured and actionable map. And this map, it also shows the place of our topic. It calls it culture building and process maturing. What is missing there is the approach of organizational development. Note that as it is now, it expects an engineerish approach to the field that we are talking about, while we suggest to look at the field of culture and maturity as an issue of structured collective behavior, which is to reproduce and improve based on internal mindset and dispositions. So the solution, in our opinion, is to nurture this field using organizational development instruments. We can already translate this into an actionable organizational development / SSDLC program, though the details are not a subject of this presentation. Also, please be patient with the glitches during the following discussion. This was our first try to introduce the program. So now we are together with Peter Nyilasy, who is the major figure behind this idea, program, concept, model, whatever, yeah.
Hi, Timur.
Hi. So in my introduction, I tried to explain what is the map on which we are trying to find the missing glue of organizational measures, which are to enable all these components which are originally like engineer to engineer designed, but lacking this organizational glue again, which is essentially our proposal today, to add this glue to the organizational treatment of security. And it's important to mention that many other organizations may have this glue already, and it could have been created organically or naturally. And the point of our talk today and the program that we propose is how to implement it methodologically. So how a software development workshop, like a team or a big organization, could take our advice and implement those missing organizational glue thingies. But first of all, let us explain why this organizational aspect is important at all. Why all those engineering when engineers made components of application security, why they doesn't work, or what is missing for the educational process of security, or let's say for security assurance within the software development process.
Yeah. So it took me some time to realize that that security quality is something that depends more on the organizational structure, more on the roles of the organizational structure, on the rules of the organization, on the processes that the organization have, on the scripts that the organization have. So security quality depends more on all these things than many other aspects of software quality. Okay, how your organization is structured, how it is organized, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, of course, in every aspect of software development, but actually it matters less in many other fields of software development than in security. Okay. Now, why is it so? So I believe that there are probably three important reasons. Okay, the first reason is that security is a typical weakest link problem. The weakest developer you have, security-wise, it will determine the overall security quality of your software. Simply, okay, if you just have one junior developer who never heard about SQL injection, then you have a great chance that this developer will introduce a SQL injection vulnerability into your software. Unless,
so
of
actually,
course,
the developer is the weakest link of security flow.
Yes, definitely. Unless, of course, you have
or can be.
Unless you have a really good organizational structure which prevents this developer somehow, which draws the right lines and prevents this developer to introduce it by mandating code review, or by mandating the usage of automatic tools and the interpretation of those tools, and so on and so on.
So there must be like a structure, a set of regularities that work on the gut level and on the conscious level, which prevent the weakest link, the developer, from being a root cause of a security problem, right?
Yes, definitely. So that's the first thing. The weakest link problem is one reason why we have to deal with security on the organizational level. The second thing is how knowledge spreads. Okay, in technology and in IT, we got used to the fact that several types of IT knowledge spread very, very efficiently. Okay, if I write a software component which, I don't know, solves some complicated task, then all the other developers can just take that component and incorporate into their software code, and they can use it without knowing deeply the component. They can just use it very efficiently. Okay, that's quite similar to how technology works. You know, someone created this phone or this notebook, but I, who use this notebook, I don't have to understand how it works, you know, internally, and don't have to understand all the internals of my notebook. I certainly wouldn't be able to create this notebook. Actually, it wasn't made by one person, it was made by many person, and probably none of them fully understands how it works.
So in software development terms, you know the interface to
Yes.
it, and it can be a black
Yes.
box there.
Yes, definitely. Which also, if you see it from another perspective, it means that somehow the fruits of knowledge spread very fast and efficiently. Okay, someone understands a problem and creates a solution for it, and suddenly everyone else can just use that solution. Okay, but in security it doesn't work that way, because it doesn't really matter. Even if you have a lot of security knowledge, know all kind of vulnerabilities, know all kind of architecture security pitfalls, it won't help the other developer to avoid the same pitfalls. Okay, it just doesn't spread easily. You spend, I don't know, years to or months to understand all the security aspects of your job, and still the other developer doesn't instantly benefit from your knowledge. Okay, security
yeah, these are two aspects together in this explanation, because on one is that everyone can introduce a serious security problem,
Yes,
which
sure.
which may not be encountered
Sure.
in the worst case scenario, and the other is this dissemination of the of knowledge.
Yes.
So is it that the knowledge should be equal? Because it shouldn't be. So the knowledge should be structured.
Yes, definitely. It's unrealistic to expect every developer to know everything about security, but at least everyone should know the basics that he or she has to know in his field. Okay, and also we should have rules which ensure security quality further. Okay, for example, rules about code reviewing. Okay.
Yeah. So we are talking about kind of security controls on the process on the organizational level.
Yes, definitely. And there is a third reason why we have to treat security on the organizational level, and that's that security is a typical attention problem. Okay, even if you know a lot about security, when you write your code or when you design your application, or even when you test your application, most likely you will focus on the functionality, okay, and not on the security aspect of what it even happens with security experts, that they write a code and they introduce a vulnerability, and they kind of have to, you know, shift their attention and check that code once again, now with the, you know, security expert hat on them, to realize that they just introduced security vulnerability. So the problem is that normally when you write the code or when you design the application, you focus so much on functionality that you totally forget about security. And again,
or rather you outsource or delegate this part of attention to specialized people.
Yeah, like to pen testers or whatever. Yeah, I think it's another problem when you trust too much. That you know, pen testers will later fix everything. Yes, so again, some organizational roles can help here, because if you know there is a process which says that in this and this and this part of the development process you have to care about security. If there are some roles which mandate, then I don't know, in every group and in every meeting there is someone who is responsible for security, then it helps people to do this attention shift.
Yeah, actually the original idea of Microsoft when they invented this security champion notion or role, it was that someone has to represent security at every meeting, like
yes, exactly.
like a special actor at the Greek drama, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, exactly, because of the attention-shift problem. Okay, so I think these are three important things to remember, and you have to understand it, because when you understand it, you understand that security is not just an individual problem. It's not just about teaching developers. It's also about changing some things on the organizational level.
The question is then, after we introduced it, that it's important to have this organizational aspect, the glue. What are the measures? What is the content of the program that they propose or you propose?
Yes. So let's first define the goals, or trying to define the goals. It's important. What are the main goals of that we want to achieve by, doing something on the organization level? So I collected 5 of those goals. The first goal is no code gets into production without some security review. Okay, that's very important, because that's just the weakest link. That just follows from the weakest link problem. If some developers' codes get into production without anybody reviewing it, then there is a high chance that you will introduce security vulnerability into your project. Okay.
Doesn't automated checking help it?
Well, yes, it can help. It can help. I don't believe that it solves all the problems, but yes, it can help, of course. But that's also part of the the organizational process. So yes, I believe that you have to do automated checkings, and you also have to do a code review by another person.
But now you're advocating for everyday code review,
Yes.
and everyday security related code
Yes,
review, right?
definitely. That's I wanted to focus or emphasize it in the last part, but yes, that's how this goal can be achieved, I believe, with routinely done code review. And of
Could this overhead be a reason?
Yes, I believe yes.
So if I was a product manager, how could you convince me that precious development time should be like
I believe that most of
wasted for it?
Yeah, but I believe that most software development companies start to understand that code review is necessary anyway, not just for the security of the application, but also for the overall quality of the code. And the overall quality of the code is it's always worth, to put some effort into it. It always comes back. It seems like it's a waste of time, but it isn't. In the beginning, it looks like that, but after a year of development, there is a huge difference between good quality code and bad.
Probably I would say that there are churches, one church believes in the code review and the other doesn't, so you are preaching in the church of security, of code review believers.
At least everyone believes today in code quality. Everyone knows that it's important. It's a knowledge that is it's a major knowledge. Everyone knows it.
However, we rarely met good quality code, right?
Well, it depends on how you measure, but I believe it's.
Okay, so one of the major measures that is part of this method or set of methods is security code review on daily basis, right?
Yes, definitely.
So what others we propose?
Maybe we can list the goals first.
Okay.
If you don't mind. So the first goal was no code gets into production without someone reviewing it. The second is security should be part of the design, the implementation, the testing, and the follow-up. Okay, that sounds trivial, but it's important to emphasize it, that it should be part of every part of development.
We preach forever.
Yes,
so
sure.
What's the difference?
No difference. It's just important to make it sure that that's our goal. Okay, we are finding the right ways for. We are trying to understand how to and what to change in the organizational level to achieve this goal. Okay, that security is part of every phase of the software development. It's not just in the testing phase, it's not just in the implementation phase, it's also in the design phase, and also it is also there during the follow-up period when the software is already in production and customers just using it. Okay, so it should be everywhere, it should be ubiquitous. The third goal is that every developer should understand at least the basics of security that he or she needs during his or her work. Okay, we should somehow ensure it again on the organizational level, that every dev gets the right kind of education, the minimal education that he or she needs. Okay, we have two more goals. There are some people who maintain and understand automatic tools, okay, because automatic tools are great, but if nobody interprets them, they are of no use, obviously. Okay, if you just run your code checking and your code checking gives you lots of problems, but you don't react to it, doesn't help. You need some people who understand and able to interpret it, knows which are the false positives, which are the true positives, which ones have to handle by, I don't know, upgrading one of your components, which one have to handled by doing some workaround, and so on and so on.
Then the fourth one.
And the fifth one is
Fifth one.
Yes, this is the fifth and the last one. Our last goal is that there should be some security experts within the organization who understand architecture and advanced topics. Okay, so I'm not saying that everyone has to be a security expert. That's important. That while I believe that everyone should have some basic knowledge of security, I don't think everyone has to be a security expert, but there should be some security experts within the organization. Okay, who can help the others when they have a question, and who can decide in architectural situations.
And we call those security champions.
Yes, because we actually I actually believe that they should have a separate security champion role. Okay, they should be the security champion architects, or the security or the reviewer champion.
So let's finish with the explanation of the solution, right?
Yes, or at least some suggestions hints, or
yeah,
proposals, yeah, or hints for a possible solution.
Actually, Peter has a Medium article dedicated to this problem, and it will be included. You can follow the link which we provide in the feedback form, and there will be a link to this content.
Yes. So obviously, one part of security still has to be education. Education is very important. You have to, if you have a company, you have to educate your developers so that they can learn how to produce better, more secure code. Okay, and the thing is that you have to do it regularly, and you have to do it as early as you can. Whenever a new developer enters your company, you should do it as early as you can, obviously, because until the developer learns about the most important security things, there is a chance that he is writing vulnerable code. Also, one other important thing is that related to education is that you have to understand what is the basic thing that every developer should know. Okay, you have to differentiate between basic security knowledge and more advanced security knowledge. I had this experience that in many soft security courses we actually teach all kind of things, basic things and mature things together. That's what we also do, because that's what people want. That's what they need, and that's okay. You can do it in one course. You can teach it in one class, but still, it should be separated. It should be differentiated. Everyone should know that, okay, these are the most important things that every junior developer has to know, and these are more advanced things that not everybody has to know. These are more like architectural stuffs. Okay. These two kind of knowledge should be separated well. I think it's important too. something which is deeply related to education is the problem of documentation. Okay, and it's very difficult to have good documentation. Everybody knows that you have documentation, fine, but if nobody reads the documentation, it is of no use, obviously. So what you need in security is some kind of documentation that is simple enough to search, so that the developer can use it during his or her work, okay, on a daily basis. Like, oh, I wrote this software, I wrote this piece of code, okay, now I know that I have to do a security check. Okay, so what are exactly the checks that I have to do? Let's check the documentation. And then the developer should be able to search the documentation based on what she did today. She should get a kind of a checklist that, okay, then I have to check this, and this from a security perspective. Okay, I'm not saying that it's easy to create such a documentation, but it is essential if you want a good security knowledge. One good framework is SKF, the Security Knowledge Framework, which is actually a software and which helps a lot in this task. That's one of the main goal of SKF.
Big hello to our friends.
Yes, yes,
regarding SKF.
We are probably a little bit biased towards SKF, but we really believe that it's a good software which can be used exactly for this purpose. But whatever works for you, use that. Have some good documentation, some documentation that is not,
I think that
in the cupboard forever, but is used really by them.
Yeah, and the emphasis on the good documentation or well implemented documentation, because there are like absolute believers in that documentation doesn't work in software development, and people never check documentation. They go to Stack Overflow or wherever, but they don't check documentation. So SKF is important in that it tries to be like an embedded knowledge, and emphasizing on the actionable knowledge, right?
Yes. We call it documentation, but it's more like policy on how to write secure software. Okay.
Not to go the wrong way.
Yes, definitely. Then, of course, one very important thing is code review. We already talked about it in the previous section, but let's just repeat it once more. You have to do code review. You have to do it regularly, and you have to do a code review from a security point of view. Okay, so that means that every code that goes into production have to be checked at least by another person. Okay, and who this other person should be, let's see it in the next slide, sure, or maybe right after the next. So the next is about security champions. I believe, or we believe, that security champions it's a good system, and we believe that actually it can be made somewhat more subtle to achieve those specific goals that we enlisted in the previous sections. So we suggested actually 4 different security champion roles. Let's see what these are. The first is the reviewer champion, or we can call it the architect champion. The names are flexible. The reviewer champion is the one who knows a lot about security, understands security problems deeply. We call him or her the reviewer champion because he's the one who should be called if there is any doubt during the code review. Okay, so one developer writes a code, another reviews it, and the other is a bit unsure whether this is secure, this is vulnerable or not. He might not know it perfectly. In this case, they should call the security reviewer champion, who should have the right knowledge to make a positive
so it's like probably like the first line support for security issues is the code review, and the second line is the that kind of security champion.
Yes. Also, the role of the reviewer champion can also be educating new developers. Okay, it can be done by specific teachers, but it can also be done by the reviewer champion. The education. Also, the reviewer champion should or the reviewer champions should be responsible for the documentation, okay, because they know security best, so they should write the documentation or the policies in SKF or in whatever form they do. So they have a lot of responsibility, they have a lot of stuff to do, and they should have a major knowledge of security. Then we have this design champion, okay. The design champion is someone who is responsible for security in the design phase. The design champion, surprisingly, doesn't necessarily have to be as competent in security as the reviewer champion, because the role of the design champion is more a formal role, like in the original concept of the security champion concept. It's just that, during the design phase, the design champion should always bring security into the focus. Like, okay, so we design it this way. Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be secure? Have we thought about security? Okay, so we are going to, I don't know, let some source code from the user because it sounds fun, and then we will just run it in the system. But is it safe? Is it safe? Can we do it safely? And then it's not the role of the design champion to answer the question, but I think at least he should bring it to the table, and then others will say, okay, we'll somehow do it safely, or no, there's no way to do it safely, or whatever. And the third role is the DevOps champion. Okay, so we believe that we need a different role for the DevOps champion. The DevOps champion is basically the guy who checks the results of the automated dependency checking tools. Okay, so you should definitely do automated dependency checking, because if you don't, you will certainly produce vulnerable software. But the thing is that even if you do these automated checkings, you need somebody who interprets the results of these checkings, and that's not a trivial thing. You need someone who really understands how to interpret it and what to do, what to intervene. That's the most important role of the DevOps champion. But also, he or she has some related tasks like where to store secrets, how to handle them well, how not to store secrets in the revision control system, and so on and so on. And finally, the fourth role is the test champion, who is responsible for security during the testing, which means that I believe that software should be tested from a security point of view during the testing. It doesn't really mean penetration testing. It means just a normal, sober, common sense testing. Like, okay, this URL should not be reachable without an authentication. Is it unreachable without any authentication? It's not really, it's not difficult. A normal tester can test it. Okay, but most of the times testers don't do such tests. It is the penetration testers who do such tests and then realize that, oops, this URL can be actually accessed without any authentication or without the right authorization. But this is something that could be and should be done during the test, during the normal functionality tests of the application. Okay, and these are 4 different roles, which doesn't mean that they have to be different persons. It is possible that one person has 2, 3, or even 4 roles. But most of the time, especially in a big company, I believe it's better if these are different persons. And of course, you don't have just one reviewer champion and one design champion, but you have many, probably one in every project, or probably that's the best way.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention that we are talking about implementing things within a team, within a project. because teams and project, they have this special tooling. They maybe use different language from the other project, maybe a different framework. So there are specific things about the implementation of organizational glue into the team, and other glues like on the whole organization or software development department. Probably is the organization that we call organization here level. So probably for today it's enough of introducing the concept and the program, and of course there are more details, so it was only just scratching the surface.
Yes.
Right? Because the devil in the detail. So we encourage you to follow the link in the feedback form, and now we close our presentation with the feedback slide. So thank you very much. Thank you, Peter, for.
Thank you, Timur, and thank you everybody for watching this.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.